All Blacks, triple figures, 102-0. I don't think that's the game anybody wanted to see. 102-0. Yeah, man, I don't know what to think about that. I'm not going to go over every try because there were way too many. It's a pretty embarrassing one. I guess we can talk a little bit about the game itself. Maybe something about where Tonga is at. Things about maybe eligibility and whatnot. And, yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this one. Clearly, credit to the All Blacks. They played some pretty slick rugby. Will Jordan gets 5 tries. It's maybe a pity he didn't break Mark Ellis's record, because I'm sure a lot of us would rather Mark Ellis have his record taken away by a classy fella like Will Jordan. D-Mac got 1, Papali'i got 2, so Papali'i played pretty well in that 7 jersey in the absence of Sam Cane. Jacobson has crazy good hands. He got a try. Mo'unga surprisingly only got 1 try in a day where that kind of seems pretty poor. Weber got 3 before he went off. Christie was able to come on and get a bit of a run. Rico got 1, Tupulotu got 1, and George Bridge got 1 at the death. A lot of tries, man. A lot of tries. The All Blacks up against this Tongan side, which you have to remember is not like a full strength, all their best players available Tongan side. Remember, there's a couple of guys like Fekitoa recently is able to, he's got his Tongan eligibility in terms of being able to play for Tonga, going through the Olympic loophole. He's not there, obviously, and by all accounts, a bunch of players who play for their clubs in the Northern Hemisphere either weren't released or, travel restrictions, or for whatever reason, these guys weren't released. So it wasn't a full-strength Tongan side, and it shows in the scoreline, man. The All Blacks, way too easy. Just quick ball and things like being able to, offload in the tackle. That was all it would take. Being able to offload in the tackle, pass the ball from the deck. Suddenly you've got space out wide. You've got 3-on-2s. There was like 5-on-2s at some point. 2-on-1s. Just way too easy for the All Blacks. Quick ball. It was just, it was like 31-0 after about 15 minutes. You had Ta'avao setting up guys. The Tongan lineout was really struggling. It was not straight. It was getting pinched all the time. The commentators, after about 20 minutes, were starting to talk about other stuff, which is, a state of affairs. They were moaning about the Northern Hemisphere, actually, about the clubs not releasing the players and about the red card rule being vetoed by like England and France. Like, that was the state of the game, where other topics were maybe a little more appealing. Interestingly, the game was played at Mount Smart Stadium, and it wasn't full by any means. Now, there's the question people are asking, why did they bother with this game? I guess we do need to remember that the All Blacks were scheduled to play Italy, and that got called off because of the pandemic, so this game wasn't the one on the cards. And it was, I guess, somebody's bright idea that, hey, the Tongan League team, when they played at Mount Smart, got a heap of fans in. It'd be good for us to play one of the Pacific teams and see if we can get that kind of same feeling at Mount Smart. They didn't get the crowd. They didn't get the result. It's a much bigger gap between the New Zealand Union team and Tongan Union team compared to the league teams, which are kind of relatively even. So, but that being said, the New Zealand rugby is kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, because people criticise them for not playing the Pacific teams enough, given that they're kind of one of our neighbours. So they're going to get criticised either way, but ultimately, this was a nuts game. It was literally some of the best players in the world up against guys who play club rugby. Tupaia looked good on his debut. If you want kind of insights into that guy, looked really natural, but it's hard to gauge, man, from this game. What else? Interestingly, I had a thought that it wasn't that long ago that I watched Tonga play at the 2011 Rugby World Cup, and I had to go check the result. That one was 41 points to 10 to the All Blacks, so pretty comfortable at the Rugby World Cup. It's a pretty big victory, but that's not 102-0. So was thinking, what? I mean, the same World Cup we had Japan in our pool as well, and it was 83-7. So the fortunes have kind of shifted between Japan and Tonga. And like I said, this is not the strongest Tongan team by any means. They had to call up a lot of debutants for this team just with the current situation. But I seem to remember the majority of the... Well, maybe not the majority. I don't remember clearly, but I seem to remember a bulk of the Tongan team was maybe Tongan born rather than relying on guys in New Zealand. But as I said, that's partly with the COVID thing, unable to get guys back. I'm assuming the Tongan domestic game has suffered a wee bit in the last kind of 10 years since that Rugby World Cup. It seems to be, because at the last Rugby World Cup, the Tongan team did have a lot of Kiwi-connected Tongans rather than guys kind of born and raised in Tonga. Are the guys not getting released from their clubs? Yes. Would the eligibility rules help? I mean, if they were a bit looser, could some other guys play for Tonga? Probably that'd help. But I don't think any one of those things is like a silver bullet to solve that. There probably needs to be more investment in the domestic game in Tonga. Where's that money going to come from? Goodness knows. If the clubs release their players, would that be better? Definitely. If the eligibility rules were a bit looser, will we see a better Tongan team? For sure. But I don't think just saying loosen the eligibility rules will be a silver bullet. I don't think it'll fix it. It's not enough. It needs to get growth from the islands themselves. But anyway, yeah. I don't mean to be a bit of a downer, but I mean, honestly, 102-0. I watched my kids play Ripper Rugby this morning, and there was like, flipping 13 tries on one side, but at least there was 10 the other way kind of thing. You know what I mean? At least it was kind of two-way traffic. Very little defending, because those little 5-year-olds just run around like a swarm of bees. But, yep. What did you guys reckon? Obviously, Will Jordan, very slick. Quinn Tupai, good on his debut, like I mentioned. Tupulotu, huge punch when he came on. Bowden Barrett, good to see him back. Good little chip and chase. Took a big hit on one of them. Took it pretty well after his stint in Japan. Not often you see multiple hat tricks in one game. But yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say. We don't need to see that kind of game. You don't need to be seeing 102-0. I don't think that does anybody any good. But yeah, like I said, the All Blacks are clearly very good. Not a match for New Zealand or even close to it at the moment. There are probably lots of things that need to happen to make a better team. And as I said multiple times, I don't think this is the best Tongan team that is out there. It's just the best one that they could get into the country for this tournament. But yeah, hopefully the games against Fiji are a bit closer for the All Blacks, and hopefully the games against Samoa for Tonga are a wee bit closer as well. But yeah, for those guys who are amateur guys having to step up to play the All Blacks, it was probably a once in a lifetime thing for them. I hope they kind of enjoyed it in a kind of weird way. I'm sure it'll be a memorable one, even if it's a pretty bad one. But yeah, there we go. Didn't seem to be any major injuries on either side, which is maybe the best bit of news out of everything. But anyway, $50 for a ticket, apparently. I think they should have lowered the prices. Nobody wants to see 102-0. That's the cheapest ticket, $50 as far as I'm aware. Yes. Anyway, you guys take care. There's plenty of other games on this evening, tomorrow morning, for whatever time it is for you guys. That should be a bit closer. You got Ireland taking on Japan, which could be pretty close. You got Canada, Wales, which may be lopsided, but surely not this lopsided. And you got the Lions taking on the Lions, British and Irish Lions over in South Africa. Happy days. And then the next, Argentina and Romania as well. And even England and USA. Heaps of rugby, guys. You guys have any thoughts? Talk to you again soon. See you later.